I saw an amazing movie the other day. It's incredible. Okay, everything and everywhere all at once, and it's getting a lot of buzz. I mean, a whole lot of buzz. It's not in a lot of theaters either, and so I really wanted to review it and talk about it, but I'm not doing it alone. I'm about to talk to somebody who's a part of the Monday Cinema Club, which is Dante Bosco show on Instagram. And she's amazing. She has a plethora of movie knowledge. And I want to welcome Denise to the show. What's up, Denise? What's going on? How you doing?
Mr. E, it is such a pleasure to finally be getting to talk to you, my guy. How are you?
Yeah. Hey, it's Sunday. It's beautiful day in the neighborhood. And so I can't complain. I can't complain at all. I just had a matter of fact, I had an interview yesterday, and that was really pleasant, and so I'm having another interview today. I can't complain.
Yeah,
and I'm off of work.
Back to back.
Yes. So tell me, before we get into the movie, just tell like everybody this an origin story, if you will, of like what's your background? I know you have theater background. Or tell me something about yourself.
Wowzers. So a long time I was born. No, I'm just kidding. I love movies, man. I've been doing Monday Cinema Club with Dante and Alice Rahematullah lately, and that has been awesome. I do have a background in theater. I love the arts. I love plays. And I think that kind of catapulted me into learning about movies. And I've always loved movies too. My dad was always watching just great movies in the background, like Forrest Gump, all of these iconic movies. So obviously, as a kid, I was super interested. That got me into like acting a little bit in high school.
Nice.
I honestly wish I could say that I acted more, but I was actually kind of a behind the scenes person. I loved working on the set.
Cool.
I loved doing like stagehand work. So all of that is just acting and directing has always been in my life. And I think that's kind of led me to where I am now, talking about movies with an actual movie star, Dante Bosco, and Alice,
Right.
who is up and coming in here, but like in China, she's huge.
Yeah.
And it, to be learning so much, and especially from the people that we pull in, has been an awesome feat. It's been awesome.
Yeah. Yes. So much to take in from what you just said. Because I mean, when you're talking about Dante Bosco, for folks who don't know, Dante Bosco's he's a veteran of the game. I mean, like he's been in Hook, Love Don't Cost a Thing. He's been in a plethora of movies. Moesha, he was in a few episodes of Moesha as well. I mean,
yeah.
Yes, and Alice. See, I didn't want to say her last name because I don't know how to pronounce it. So
no. Alice Rahematullah.
Rahematullah. Alice Rahematullah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you got it.
All right. So yeah, she's a martial artist, a model, and she's like you said, an actress over there in China. I've made a few. I've done a few cameo appearances on the Monday Cinema Club as well, and it's a really fun show to do. And you made a few cameos, and now you're actually you're like one of the major people who
I'm
like
deep
run it.
in there, E. I'm deep.
How does it feel?
E, it's been nuts, dude. Like, so like you were saying, I followed Dante for a while, and then he started doing during the pandemic. Obviously, him and Alice started this Monday Cinema Club. Right. I was pulled in a bunch, and I guess I have a charm about me. I'm just kidding, but it was. They ended up. No. Sorry, let me backtrack. I DM'd Alice one time, and I was like, "Listen, if you need any help on the show anytime, let me know." Not thinking it would actually happen because, like, whatever. But as the pandemic got a little better and people started getting out, they started getting work. So on New Year's Day of this year, they hit me up and were like, "Yo, can we call you really quick?" And I was like, "What? What is that?" And it was New Year's. It was like, dude, is this a prank? Like, what's happening? But they ended up calling me and we had a chat. Like, they were like, do you want to be a part of this or whatever? You know, we're going to be busy. We just need like, you know, kind of a stable person to be HQ basically, you
Oh,
know?
yeah.
So it's been an honor to be a part of it. And like I said, just learning so much knowledge from them, from all of the people we pull in has been incredible and makes me want to do this more, like as my career, you know, like I want to
Absolutely,
start
yeah.
doing it. Like it's such an inspiration. And this movie that we're talking about as well was a huge inspiration too. Like I was bawling, I was bawling.
Wow. Yeah. Oh man, let's get into it. And Everywhere All at Once. It's a movie out now, and it's directed by the Daniels. It stars Michelle Yeoh. It has, I say, Jonathan Key Kwan, because like, in the beginning when he was playing Indiana Jones, and he was in Indiana Jones and Goonies,
Right.
he went by that, but he also goes by Ki Hu Kwan, and he hasn't been on screen, big screen, in 20 years. Although he was in a movie called Finding Ohana on Netflix, like which was like I think last year, what have you. But
Yes.
he's back, and I mean, when I saw the trailer of this movie, there aren't too many trailers that were like, you know, I'm like, I have to see this movie. I said, I have to see this new movie, not because of the craziness that ensues in the trailer, just the trailer alone, but I had to see it because I just something just had to see it. It was
it has
me.
that force, dude. It has that force.
Yeah, yeah. I was this close to getting an Uber because it wasn't playing in where I was living at first, where I was living at in Rock Hill. It was playing in Charlotte. And I was this close to getting like a $40 Uber to go to Charlotte because I don't have a car, and seeing this movie. But thank God, you know, it started playing like this week at my movie theater, and it was what I needed to see. It's not for, I don't think it's for everybody, but
right, absolutely, right.
It's for them. It spoke to me in a big way. Huge.
I fully agree with you, E. When we connected on Instagram and you said that you were going to go see it, I was like, dude, I'm about to go see this too. I went in only knowing that it was a multiverse movie.
Yes.
And that, no, I think that was it. I think,
I
think that was the only thing that I knew about it, but I didn't want to read too much into it. Right. And thank goodness that I didn't, because the writing, the directing, I would say this is probably one of the most perfect movies that I've seen in a while. Like, wow. In a while, dude. Like, just the stunt work, the choreography with all of the action scenes had me just floored. The colors in this movie had me bawling, dude.
Wow.
It was insane. And agreed, I think it came out with a huge message at the end. So
I'm curious. I just want to go by with the premise of what the movie is about, just to give it, just like, I'm going to say there might be some light spoilers in what we're talking about. I'm not going to give a lot away.
Yeah, for sure.
Basically, the movie's about Michelle Yeoh. She plays Evelyn. She got a lot going on. Her laundromat is kind of crumbling. She's her husband's not happy. They want to get a divorce. Her and her daughter are not seeing eye to eye. Her and her father are not really seeing eye to eye as well. And on top of that, she's about to get audited by the IRS. By Jamie Lee Curtis is in this film as well, and she does an amazing job.
She understood the assignment 100%.
Absolutely, I've always loved her, man. Ever since True Lies. Her husband tells her, "Look, there's a multiverse. We need to do some things." Basically, that's the premise, you know.
Yeah.
And as a person, I'm 44. So as a person who's had many jobs And it's been through points in my life where I've said to myself, how did I get here? You know what I'm saying? There'd be a moment in time where I'm like, how did I get here? Why is this happening? And this movie, Evelyn, I related to her so much. You know what I mean? Because when you go through that point in your life where you just feel like everything's just bad, and but it's but it's, you can't. That's just a bad moment. It's not the rest of your life. It's just a bad moment. And man, to me, I'll stand on top of a mountain and say I've seen all three Matrix movies, and it didn't resonate with me. I'm going to be honest with you.
Wow. Okay.
Resonated with me in a huge way. This was my Matrix. At this point in time in my life, being a creator especially, I needed this movie.
Yeah, I love everything that you just said, my dude. And I'm glad that you brought up the Matrix, because it gave me huge Matrix vibes, 110%. But I feel like it was kind of like the first one, basically, because the other two, the other two Matrixes, they kind of went off into a whole other thing. But the first one, I feel like it had this kind of impact as well on me. When I first watched the first Matrix, I was like, dude, my mind is being blown right now. We're living in a simulation. Like,
right.
Crazy. But this was like watching it over again. I was like, this is a real, honest opinion on what life is about, what life means. Like, nothing matters.
Yeah.
Nothing matters, but at the same time, like, you just gotta enjoy the simple things, the small things in your life too. I fully agree with you. Everything resonated in this movie, even the silliest parts of it, which there are some silly parts to it.
Oh yeah.
But even those had a touching moment to it. Like, by the end, I was seriously sobbing, and I was not expecting to sob at the end of this movie.
Yeah, I didn't get. I got. It's so funny when I before the movie started, there was these two older ladies, these senior citizens that walked in the theater. I was like, I wonder if they know what they're about to walk into. You know what I'm saying? I thought they walked into the wrong theater, but look, they were there, and I saw them walk out, which goes, it's not for everybody, but man, I mean, like, I'm serious when I say, like, if you've ever caught yourself saying, man, if I would have did this differently, what would my life be like? This movie's for you. The whole concept of a multiverse is nothing new. You know what I'm saying? You got Doctor Strange coming out, but there's movies before that that's kind of dealt with, like, the multiverse and things like that. I think about Donnie Darko, or something like that. And this movie, so much is coming at you all at once. But that's okay, because it requires a second viewing to get the other stuff that you didn't get.
I cannot wait to view this again, because you're right. It was almost to the point, even in the first. So this movie is 3 acts.
Yes.
Or I guess 3 acts and like a prologue probably. But the first act just seemed really long and very overwhelming for the senses. Like, you were getting hit with everything all at once.
Yes.
But it's, once you kind of get into it, you're in it. And I feel like with multiverse movies, sometimes it's a little difficult to keep up with the story, but they kind of helped you along with it. And I was really appreciative of that.
Oh yeah, yeah. My favorite movies is Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, right?
Of course.
And it kind of it reminded me of that because of the randomness. As a matter of fact, the daughter, her name is Stephanie Hugh. She reminds me so much of Roxy from Scott Pilgrim. You know what I'm saying? The changing of the outfits, the attitude. I really enjoy it.
This was her first movie, I'm pretty sure, right? Was it her debut?
I think I've heard her say in an interview, like, this is her first movie, and she was amazing, man.
She knocked it out. She knocked it out of the park.
Yes. Oh man. Oh gosh. I want to ask you so many questions. Oh, what the heck? I'm gonna ask you what you think of certain parts of the movie. I'm gonna
Go
put
ahead.
up a spoiler warning. Spoilers, warning,
Spoilers.
spoilers. When I edit it, I'm like, but okay, let me ask you something. Um, what did you think um the bagel represented for you? Is it teenage angst? Well, a lot of times that's how I interpret it. As like a lot of times teenagers, when tragic things happen to them, they get to a point where like, well, nothing really matters anymore, and it's like a gaping black hole. You know what I'm saying? And they walk through life kind of like just walking through life. You know what I mean? What did it mean to you?
That's a good way of putting it. I like that. I like that idea as well. I was thinking darker, to be honest with you. I was thinking more like suicidal tendencies, kind of like going into a deep depression type of thing.
Mm,
But I kind of like your angst thing too. I think I read somewhere that they said the directors, the Daniels said that it was just kind of like a joke. Like it didn't,
oh,
people are gonna read into it or whatever, but they were like, yeah, it's an everything bagel type of
did
thing. But I want to, I kind of like the depression and,
yeah,
kids, especially when they're getting into those ages where they can make their own decisions about life, and they can go with whatever partner they want to. Sometimes, and especially in older generations, they don't really see eye to eye, and I thought
right.
was a really great interpretation of kind of just like you said, a void, where they kind of feel like nothing for their parents for a little bit if they don't see eye to eye or agree. But I really want to say that I have been loving all of these Asian uh, inspired stories. This
Yeah.
reminded me a lot of Turning Red, but in like a bigger scope of things.
Mm,
Um, just a lot of like parental dynamics and a lot of the older generation. I think it's a really big gap sometimes
yeah.
that people feel with their parents. But yeah, I think void is a good
What
word
touched you
for it.
emotionally? What part touched you emotionally?
Oh my gosh, the mother daughter part of it,
Mm,
their relationship is so like anyone can resonate it. If you're a mother and daughter type of relationship, even father son, you have those moments where you're so frustrated that sometimes your parents aren't seeing what possibilities there are if they were open. And I come from, I'm half Salvadorian, and my parents are Salvadorian, and
nice.
they have a very traditional way of seeing things. My father has been a lot more open to things, but my mom is still, in her traditional ways.
Right.
And I never want to disrespect that. But at the same time, I'm like, can you be open to some more possibilities? Like it will free your mind
Yeah,
if you're
yes.
if you're just kind of open to these things. But it takes time, and talking, I think the movie had a great way of saying like just talk it out sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to resonate with a lot of people. I hope and pray that this movie is not forgotten
Oh, it won't
in
be.
in the grand scope of things. It's one of the most beautifully put movies, and even seeing it is just beautiful.
Yeah.
It's an amazing movie, dude. Like I cannot say it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, because a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people might watch that movie and on the surface level, they're like, oh, that was entertaining, that was silly. But for me now, it's like, because it's so easy to watch like something like the hot dog finger scene and just be like thrown off by that into where like you just, but if you when you I'm a movie watcher now to where like when I walk out of a theater and if I don't feel like exuberant, that's okay because I'll go home and I'll think about the movie and I'll let it digest because to me that the best movies do that. You know what I'm saying? You really think about what you just saw. And I was just really thinking about, I mean, the whole, and I was just like, wow, that really happened. You know what I mean? And I said, I understood the assignment for me, like I said, you know, because for me, another thing I got from the movie is um because you're dealing with the multiverse, and when you do something that's different, you know, in your career or what people are something different than what people around you are used to you seeing you do, you kind of people some people don't like that because they can't use you to, you know, how they need to use you. You know what I mean? So like if I'm doing something outside of my 9 to 5 and I'm happy doing it, certain people don't want to see you happy.
Right.
You know, certain people it doesn't benefit them. You know, and it, you know, you're kind of because you're shifting, you're doing a different shift, you're shifting energy. You know, you're doing a different thing. And so as a creator, I've noticed even now, it's like I don't certain people who I thought would support me aren't doing that, you know,
Right.
and I have to be okay with that because, you know, I have to continue doing what I'm doing, you know, because I love doing it. I got that from the movie. Yeah, it's so many things, you know what I
You,
mean?
I completely feel you. Like you can take so much away from this movie, a sense of, you know, closure with your parents. You can sense, you know, what you're saying. It's so much and more. Just so many crucial moments in this movie.
Yeah. And James Hong is in this movie, and this guy, he he's since Big Trouble in Little China, he's always been around. He looks
Since the
great.
dawn of time,
Man,
he's been around.
this guy, and you know, he was great. Harry Chum Jr. from Glee is in this too.
Really?
Yeah, he plays the chef.
Oh, I knew he looked familiar. I knew
Yeah,
he looked familiar. I wasn't a huge Glee watcher, but I definitely remember his face.
yeah. And Jenny Slate is in this movie too.
Yep, big nose.
Big she was that scene cracked me up, man. There's guys, just so much, man. I can't wait to see it again. But when you're saying something about turning red, and on my previous episode of when I talked to Allison, shout out to Allison, shout out to Vanessa from the Monday Cinema Club as well, and we were talking about turning red. I just want to know your opinion, not only of that movie, but I was telling the question I had for them is like I feel like it's kind of strange because it seemed like Pixar is just or not, I shouldn't say Pixar, but Disney's not releasing these Pixar movies to the movie theaters. They're going straight to Disney Plus, whereas their Disney animated movies are getting theatrical releases. I just think that's strange.
This one was pretty risky, I will
Mm,
say that. And I heard a lot of backlash from it, but I absolutely adored it. The
yeah,
fact that they not only represented an Asian story
yeah,
that was beautifully told, but also about women's struggles, like getting their period. Like I've never seen tampons in an animated
right.
movie. I was blown away. My mouth was
Yeah,
on the floor, like, yes, finally. I wish I had this as a kid
yeah,
because the more you put it out there, like it shouldn't be taboo. All women get get their periods. Like it's
yeah,
not a taboo subject. Educate yourselves.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
I think this one especially, I think that's one of the reasons why they put it straight out to Pixar or to Disney Plus. But I agree with you, man. I don't know. I always have my problems with Disney. I love their stuff, but sometimes they like shell out too much. Like Star Wars, like they just dug into that franchise so much, and
Mhm.
I feel like it's losing a lot of genuine things that I like about either the franchise or Disney. Sometimes, uh, you know, like the movies like Up or Inside Out, those were beautiful because they were genuinely done.
Yes.
But when you start doing sequel after sequel, like what are they on Cars 55? It gets it loses some of its charm, like I used to cry at every Disney Pixar movie because they tug at your heartstrings every time.
Oh yeah, definitely, especially Toy Story 3. Oh my god.
Oh, 100 and I wasn't even expecting Toy Story 4 to be that good, but there I was crying.
Agreed.
But like I said, they kind of lose its genuine stuff sometimes, and that's what I don't like about what they're doing.
I agree with what you said about Star Wars, because for me growing up, Star Wars was like an event. You know what I'm saying? They didn't make the movies it was just like Star Wars. They made, I think the Star Wars originally, the original trilogy was like 3 years apart each movie. And then, years later, they put out the special editions.
Right. Oh yeah, that's right.
And then after that, they put out the prequels. You know what I'm saying? And that was years later. Now it's just like, don't get me wrong, love the Mandalorian. I know. I think that's dope.
I got you.
But yeah, I agree with you. It loses the special appeal of it, because they come out with so much stuff. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm being 100% honest. A Force Awakens, I didn't like a lot of the new characters. I'm gonna be real. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. I think they kind of should have stuck at, the 6 that they did. I was okay with those, and then this one kind of got a little crazy. But I'm gonna put the Marvel cinematic universe in there too, because I feel like that's super overwhelming as well. Like, they have also put out just like movie after movie after movie, and I'm like, man, I can't keep up. And now they're in the multiverse, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, now I really can't keep up with all of these.
I love them.
I know.
Yeah,
And
I
want to love them, but it's very overwhelming on like, dude, where do I even start? Should I go with Wanda? Should I go with, Iron Man? Like, and I have seen a lot of them, like the Iron Mans, the first MCU phase, seen them. X-Men, I love, but when it comes to a lot of the newer ones, I'm a little lost with it, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, hopefully you catch up, because they're great, man. And I mean, they are really something. Like I am May 5th. Yeah, May 5th can't get here fast enough for me, because I'm so excited to see Doctor Strange. But I understand what you're saying. Not only that with the MCU, but just like there's so many options to watch just stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I've caught myself being like, hold on, did I finish watching this series? Oh, I haven't even finished it yet. Like Moon Knight. I'm like, I watched 2 episodes of it, and I quickly lost interest. And it's really difficult to do when you got stuff going on. Like if you got family and you're trying to create your own content, and so yeah, I totally understand what you're saying, man. Really.
It gets
I had to force myself, like when Cobra Kai season 4 came out, I'm like, okay, I'm watching this, and I'm watching it all in one day. And yeah, I'm doing that, and I'm glad I did. It was good. But I wanted to ask you, what movie, you love movies like me, what movie knocked your socks off, where you got that real movie going experience?
This one, dude, Everything Everywhere All at Once. This was the movie. I've seen a lot of the Oscar nominated movies that have happened this year too. But I haven't been, and that includes the Batman too. I just went to go see that. Nothing has knocked my socks off like this movie, E. And I'm saying that from like a lot, maybe actually 9 days, a movie called 9 Days. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It was a low-key one, but it's super beautiful. If you guys ever get the chance, 9 Days. It stars one of the Skarsgård, Tony Hale's in it.
Okay.
But it's a beautifully done movie about life. And this one have both knocked my socks off when it comes to it recently.
Right. But like as a kid, what movie knocked your socks off?
Oh man, oh man, oh man. That one's a tough one. I think it was probably Forrest Gump.
Okay.
I think that one has been in my life for so long, and it was so funny, and it never got old for some reason. I'm a huge old school TBS fan. I don't know if anybody out there knows TBS. It used to be a channel that only did movies for a while. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but they did a lot of like old school shows, played movies all the time. And that's where I got most of my movie love too. But they would always play Forrest Gump. And I remember it being so much longer than it was because of the commercial breaks.
Right, right,
So
right.
I would always like come and catch in a few minutes of it. But every time it no doubt makes me cry. It makes me laugh. Like that movie was just so much all at
Oh
once.
yeah.
It had also relationship about parents. Like it's a beautiful movie. I think that one. I'll probably think of another one that's probably greater, but that one off the top of my head is probably the best.
Yeah, that's Robert Zemeckis
Yeah.
and of course Tom Hanks and Gary Sinise, and yeah, it's a classic, man. Like and for me, I gotta say without a question, because I didn't know what I was getting into, because I didn't see Raiders of the Lost Ark, and the only reason I wanted to see it is because Harrison Ford was in it. He played Han Solo in Star Wars, so I went to see Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Now, mind you, I'm 8 years old. We go to church every Sunday, and that we didn't, in our household, we didn't play horror movies or anything like that. So the concept of voodoo and all this stuff is foreign to me. And that movie, it it completely blew my mind. Like, ripping out the heart and the voodoo doll thing really creeped me out. And I
That's one
was
of the
so
better Indiana Jones, in my opinion, dude. That's one of the best.
totally agree. And Spielberg doesn't like it because of the flack he got, because that movie is the reason why we have PG-13 movies now.
Yep.
But
Yep.
but man, that movie, I was so scared. I was invested. I was feared for the characters' lives. It's like, this guy's ripping out, in Mortal Kombat style.
Yeah, man. That was a dark Indiana Jones. Yeah, 100%.
And then the scene where they feed Indy the blood, and Harrison Ford starts doing this thing. Man,
It gave me strong Star Wars vibes too, man. Like that Jabba the Hutt scene almost. Like
I didn't
it all
think about that.
just got me. Yeah, dude. Harrison Ford. I love Harrison Ford so much, man.
Dude, legend,
The
legend.
original Solo.
The original. So like, so what do you have going on? I mean, what tell people what you got going on. Of course, the Monday Cinema Club, but
Monday Cinema Club, dude. That is my life and blood right now. So I oh Dante and Alice have been super busy with their own projects and stuff. They come on when they can, which is most Mondays.
mhm.
But it's me doing HQ, getting on the socials. Follow us at Monday Cinema Club. On Instagram, we go live every Monday. We talk about classic movies and sometimes recent movies because we love just chatting movies all the time. All the time.
Yes. Still waiting for Interspace. I hope that happens one
I
day.
know. Dude, it's on my list.
Yes.
I'm telling you, E, when it happens, you will be the first to know about that.
Oh, that movie is a gem of a movie, man. I mean, like the special effects, like even in the like that time, I actually won an Academy Award for special effects that year. That was in '89, and to this day they still look incredibly mind blowing. That's in Industrial Light and Magic doing that stuff, and it looks so it's all practical. It's all practical, man. It's incredible. It's the effects were so good. A matter of fact, when Cisco and Ebert when they reviewed that movie, Roger Ebert thought they actually used like real medical footage, but no, that's all practical special effects, man. It is it's a funny, weird movie, but the special effects are mind blowing.
I think one of my favorite things about watching older movies, especially, is because at points, especially with good movies, like even Alfred Hitchcock movies,
Yeah.
We just reviewed Singing in the Rain. And every time I see movies like that, I'm like, how do you do that? It's 2022 and I don't know how you are getting these shots sometimes. I don't know
Yeah.
how you're doing this special effect. Like, why does it look so good? And
Yeah.
and over here in 2020 we have CGI that's like can look so bad.
Really bad. Really bad.
Great CGI out there, but there's also mostly really bad CGI, and you're like, dang. One of my favorite movies is Night of the Living Dead, and I don't know if you've seen Tarman,
I have not.
but Tarman is one of the villains or the villain zombie, but it looks so real and it's like animatronic, and you're like, man, this is so cool. Like the visual effects you can get sometimes from just doing it, making it yourself sometimes is
Yeah.
completely unreal.
That's why I respect what and I can't pronounce his. Oh, you went out.
No, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay. One of my favorite movies is Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh yeah.
And help me pronounce his name.
Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro. He also
Yes.
directed Pacific Rim as well. But the practical effects on that movie, man, like that's why, man. You think about something like the stuff that Jim Henson used to do.
Oh
Really
yeah.
I mean, he's a legend. I mean, and that's why it reminds me of that. Good old puppetry. Kind of Dark Crystal. I appreciate that stuff, man. I really, really do. And so, yeah, I totally, I'm on board with everything you just said. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Can
That's
I
like,
ask you can I ask you a question really quick, B?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
What did you think about the kung fu choreography, karate choreography, and everything everywhere all at once?
Oh, I mean, I'm not. It was fantastic. I mean, Michelle Yeoh with her martial arts background, and also Jonathan Key Kwan, after he kind of retired from acting, he did a lot of stunt work. Yeah, he's responsible for all of the stunt choreography and choreography in X-Men. The first
Really?
X-Men. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can look it up on IMDb.
Dude, I am blown away.
Yeah. So
That is
that's
so
yeah.
badass, dude.
Yeah. So I'm relatively sure a lot of the stunts in that movie he did. There are parts I could tell there was a stunt man, but there was a lot of the stuff he did himself because he has that background.
And Michelle Yeoh is best known, I think, out there for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon
Yep.
movie. And she was amazing. I thought this movie showcased everything that she did well.
She's amazing. Like I think I watched it was I think a Vanity Fair thing where she was kind of going down her career of the things that she's done, and there's this movie called Super Cop 3 with Jackie Chan, and there's a part where she's hanging on a bus, right? And the bus does a turn that it's not supposed to do, and she almost falls off, man. I mean, she's the real deal, man. She is the real deal, man.
Dude, I'm really glad that you said Jackie Chan, because especially in that fanny pack scene,
yes,
that completely reminded me of Jackie Chan, old school, like using props, but also it being super hilarious too at the same time. I was blown away. That's when I first was like, all right, I'm in this movie. Let's go. I'm down for it.
Man, that guy, man, the first Jackie Chan movie I saw was Rumble in the Bronx.
Oh yeah.
And that I was like, that's my first time. That's my first time seeing a movie of his. But then I remembered that name because there was this old school Nintendo game called Jackie Chan. I forgot the title. And that's my first time. I was like, oh, this guy's been around for a long time. He's worked with Bruce Lee. But I felt almost guilty for that being my first Jackie Chan movie because he's been around for such a long time. But he's a legend.
For sure. Oh my gosh. But once you get into Jackie Chan, like that's it, dude. He's one of the best, man. He's one of the best.
One of the best, man. Oh my gosh. Oh, such a pleasure talking to you today. I appreciate your time. You
E,
know,
dude, whenever you want to do this again, I am all down for it. I love talking movies, whether it's on here or in a DM. Like, if you like talking movies, I like talking movies too.
absolutely. And yes, we got to do this again. And again, Monday Cinema Club is on Instagram at 6 o'clock on Monday, 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's a fun, and I think what's the movie this week?
The movie this week is one that Alice picked. It's an international one called Children of Heaven,
Children of
and
Heaven.
it's an Iranian film. I love Alice because she brings the international films, dude, and it's a tearjerker, man. Like super wholesome movie. We do some good movies on there, man. You guys should check it out.
Definitely check them out. You know, it's a fun time. And again, it's such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for your time today. And I hope you enjoy
Thank
the
you
rest
again.
of
If
the
you
day.
guys want to follow me, Monday Cinema Club or D's_knees_420 on Instagram. I'm happy to talk.
Yes, 420. I like that.
I got you. You know what it's about.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But thank you so much for your time, Denise. I appreciate you so
No
much.
worries. No worries.
Yes, enjoy your day.
All right. Bye, E.
All right, bye, ciao.